I want to tell you something that took me far too long to figure out. For about 2 years, I had a note in my phone that I labeled the plan. And in that note, I had everything mapped out. Wake up at 5, work out, read that book, work on that thing that I said I was going to build. I had the time blocks, I had the structure, and at one point, I even had it color coded. And I never, not once, followed it for more than 3 days in a row. And the worst part, it wasn't the failing, it wasn't the missed days, it wasn't even the feeling of me being behind. It was what happened after, because eventually, I stopped reacting to it. No frustration, no urgency, no, I really mean it this time. Just a quiet, yep, I'm probably not going to do it this time either. And that right there is what I want to talk about, because it's not a discipline problem, it's not a motivation problem, it's a trust problem. And if you're being honest, you felt this too. You've said things like, I'll start tomorrow, I'm getting serious this week, I'm done wasting time. And in that moment, you meant it. You weren't lying, you weren't faking, you actually believed it. And then what happened? You started for a day, maybe 2. You might even win a whole week. And then you stopped. You skipped a day, you pushed it off, and eventually you went right back to where you were in the beginning. And at first, that doesn't feel like a big deal because you just tell yourself you'll start again tomorrow. But after enough times, something changes. You stop getting excited about your own plans. You stop believing your own word. And now when you say, I'm going to do this, there's a part of you that already knows you're probably not. And that right there, that's the real problem. Because every time you say you're going to do something and then you don't, you're training your brain. Not emotionally, but logically. You're running a pattern. Because your brain, it doesn't care what you say, it just tracks what you do. Because when your actions don't match your words, your brain, it updates who you are. It stops taking you seriously. So think about it like this. If somebody in your life told you they were going to show up and they didn't, once, you might brush it off. 5 times, you noticed it. 10 times, you stopped believing them. Eventually, you wouldn't expect them to show up. You wouldn't rely on them. You'd plan around them. You wouldn't even take their words serious anymore. That is what you've done to yourself. Your brain, it doesn't expect you to follow through. When you say, I'll start Monday, your brain doesn't react to it. It doesn't prepare for it, and it doesn't get ready. It just ignores it. Because it's seen too many Mondays come and go. And this is where it gets worse. Because now, motivation doesn't even work anymore. Motivation is supposed to push you, but it only works if you believe the promise. And if your brain already thinks that we don't follow through, then motivation, it has nothing to attach to. And that's why you keep restarting. There was a moment where this really hit me. I was in the parking lot, at the gym. I had already driven there, already had my gym clothes on, the bag was in the back seat. Everything was already set up, everything was ready. But I sat there for 10 minutes just thinking, and in my mind, I knew what I needed to do. And the whole time, there's this voice in my head that's telling me to go in, but I didn't. I sat there, and eventually, I started my car, and I drove back home. For no reason. And on the car ride back home, I wasn't mad. I wasn't frustrated. I was confused. Because I knew that I wasn't lazy. I knew that I could work hard. I knew that I could focus because I had done it before. So why couldn't I do it with the things that I say matter the most? And that's when everything clicked. I didn't trust myself. And once that happens, everything changes. Because now you're living in a gap between who you are and who actually shows up. And every time that you don't show up, that gap gets bigger until eventually you stop arguing with yourself. You stop pushing yourself. You stop expecting things from yourself. You become someone who just tries, not someone that actually follows through. And if you're recognizing yourself in this, then that's a good thing, because most people, they never figure out why they're stuck. If you want to actually fix this, then hit that subscribe button, because this is the part that most people miss. Here's what I eventually understood. This isn't a performance problem, it's a relationship problem. You don't trust the person that's making these decisions. And now it's time for you to rebuild the trust, because you can't build consistency without it. You rebuild it through proof. When I first tried to fix this, I did what everybody else did. Too many habits, too many rules, too much pressure. I made things too hard. I added conditions. I'll do it unless I'm tired, unless I work too late, unless today was a bad day. That's not commitment, that's avoidance. So I had to strip it down. One thing for 10 minutes every day with no conditions. No skipping, no making it up every day. The internal arguments, they disappear because your brain, it starts to believe you again. You act without hesitation. You stop negotiating with yourself. And once that happens, everything changes. You start making better decisions. You start following through on things again. But not because you're forcing it, but because it feels wrong not to. Because now, you're not someone that just tries, you're somebody that actually follows through. And that changes everything. I recently drove past that gym where I sat in the parking lot and never went in, and I thought about the version of me that just sat there when I knew what I should have done, but I never did it. I don't think he was lazy anymore, he just didn't trust himself. And that is where you're at right now. You're not broken, you just haven't rebuilt that trust with yourself yet. So start small by keeping your word and proving it to yourself, because once you do that, everything changes. Now let me know in the comments if you're rebuilding trust in yourself.